Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. And our first story is from a big Bruce Willis fan. Couldn't help myself. In Australia, just a lurker, I'm a 56-year-old Bruce Willis fan who continually uses his movie phrases and is known for it. Never seen any of the manager haircut Karens in the wild? I thought they only roamed and thrived in the U.S. While quickly finishing my Christmas shopping at a large Target, I was flicking through the DVDs, which were very badly organized. I finally found the one that I'd been searching for and was just replacing the unwanted boxes in their correct places. Karen, with a huge haircut, walks up. I'm 6'4" and built like a bear, dressed in an old t-shirt, old shorts, and thongs. Flip-flops to US and UK people. Karen is K, I'm me. K, grabbing my arm. I want the frozen Blu-ray. In typical arrogant, entitled voice. Me. Touch me again, and I'll kill you. John's death stare. Karen. You can't speak to... I want... No longer touching me. I don't work here. I'm just getting a DVD. I need the frozen Blu-ray for my daughter. Look in the Blu-ray section, under F. Leave me alone. So you're not going to help me then? Talking as if she knows a secret that I've never heard of. Me. F off. You'll regret this. I got some perfume for the wife and a silly hat for my brother-in-law, then walked to the checkout. Karen was there with an obvious member of staff and a dude with a suit. She saw me and pointed, him, he's the one who swore at me. Suit says, he's a customer. Manager says, I've never seen him before in my life. Karen then sees me walk towards her from a distance, which must have clicked something because she looked me up and down, realized that there was no way that I worked there, and just stopped talking. In my mind, I really thought about saying the classic yippee-ki-yay line, but I didn't. I just checked out and left. Oh, the Karens of the world, providing story gold for us every day. And our second story. Shut up, kid. I want the engineer. Second story. Since the first one was much, much more appreciated than I could have ever hoped, I began looking into old anecdotes and I remembered this gem from 2011. Again, a small preemptive excuse since English is not my first language. Sadly, or luckily, I don't remember any more stories that fit this particular sub. That said, here we go. At the time, I was 26, just out of university with my title and master both completed by December 2010. Almost immediately, I went into a big engineering company specializing in tall buildings. I was still green with little to no experience in the real world, and by nature, I'm also evasive when it comes to conflict. So I'm not exactly the wise choice when it comes to clash against aggressive or too dominant people. Still, I was able to fake confidence and capable enough to quickly gain the trust of clients. Because of that, I was already managing projects with some degree of autonomy at 6 months on the job. That said, it was November, already very warm weather, Chile, so summer in November, and the office was working at its usual pace. That is calm, but 2 steps away from total panic. It was morning when my boss called me. Let's call him Ray. He's a great guy, professional, but often a bit dense when it comes to social cues. To this day, we're still good friends despite both not working there anymore. When I arrive at his desk, he pulls out a set of schematics. Hey, I have a meeting this afternoon with this particular client, but I can't go. They have some kind of issues, so it's important that someone from the office is there if things get difficult. Difficult, I ask? Yeah, they effed up and want to blame us. Still, everything's on the drawings. You shouldn't have any issues. Sure, I'll take it. So the meeting time came, and I get out of the taxi in front of this 22-story office building. The lobby was already finished in floors of black marble and a roof in white marble with diffuse white lighting, round double-height columns in stainless steel. And as I enter, something calls my attention. There are scratches on the floor. Also on the columns. Also on the doors. This is bad. These are telltale signs of horrible construction management. I take the stairs to the 4th floor, and the construction auditor, Phil, receives me. He's a large guy with a short beard and a stern but amicable face. Phil. So are you, needs more Boca? What happened to Ray? Hi. Yeah, he sent me in his place. All right, well, this is about to start. Just sit by my side and don't intervene unless it's necessary. Anything else I need to know, I ask? He smiles back at me with a grin. Nope, just wait and enjoy. So we enter this large improvised meeting room. There's electricity, but the floor's still bare concrete and the doors are temporary. The table's enough for maybe 20 people. On the corner, there's a small guy with a curved back and sketchy appearance. He could be described as a weasel in office attire. No one pays any attention to my presence as everyone is taking seats. I sit beside Phil near the middle of the table. The weasel's on the far head and the closest head is still empty. That guy is the construction manager. He's blaming us for the F-up, he says, pointing at the weasel. We wait for maybe 5 minutes with only a rumor of the small conversations in place. Finally, the door opens and a peacock-like office Richard enters. Black trousers, white and pink vertically striped shirt, and big golden sunglasses where a helmet should have been. A large golden watch, kettlebell-sized, completed the image. "Sorry I'm late. Let's begin the meeting," Richard announces. I assume for his commanding tone that he's the representative of the owners. After some minimal greeting to all the people in the room by the architect, he gives the word to Richard. I take a glance at Phil. He's expectant. Now Richard raises from the table, points to the weasel, and the party starts. "Explain to me how the F you forgot to build doors for the elevator's machine room. We're already delayed a month, you made an effing mess on the lobby, and now we have to demolish a wall so the elevator people can enter." Okay, sir," the weasel answered. "First of all, these changes have been asked by you. You asked for the lobby to be left ready while I still have to work with people there, and you have it fully scratched. How the F is that my responsibility?" Turns out Richard and the weasel not only were severely unprofessional, but also hated each other with such passion that they had to be put on opposite sides of the table because more than once they came close to a fistfight. They discussed screaming at each other for maybe 5 minutes. Richard is fully aggressive and red, attacking relentlessly. The manager, just as his appearance suggests, sneaks in between all the attacks and deflects responsibilities, blaming everything under the sun. The rest of the assistants are just expecting to let time pass quickly and leave, but Phil is happy. He was one step away from having some popcorn. I lean into him and whisper, "So they forgot an access for the machine room?" Yeah, not only that, but the weasel also declared some construction molds as stolen, and they made an investigation. Turns out they're still inside that closed room. "What?" I asked a bit louder. "Hey, kid," Richard addresses me despectively. "Shut up." And he goes back to the fight. After some more punches back and forth, the weasel is running out of ways to deflect his mistakes. He tries one more. "But this wasn't our fault. The door was not in the structural engineer's drawings." He forms a smug smile. "Plus, Ray didn't even come to the meeting. If any penalties are to be applied, it's to them for their incompetence." Boy, that was my cue. I clear my throat, but fail in the first impression, entering in a timid way. "Well, shut up, kid," the weasel snaps and looks to Phil. "Phil, keep your assistant quiet." I decide to make myself understood more clearly. I pull the set of schematics, letting them fall heavily over the table and catching the attention of both Richard and the weasel. Over the schematics, I put my construction helmet with the logo of the engineering firm. Silence takes over the place. "If I may," I now speak in front of a pale weasel and a Richard who internally debate of showing shame for calling me kid or doing a victory lap around the weasel. I'm actually a structural engineer from company, and Ray sent me in his representation because his schedule was full. Mind if we check what appears on the drawings? Here we are. Yes, as you can see, the door is here, and I think this cannot be attributed to confusion from structural design. I agree, Phil comments with a huge smile. The rest of the table is trying to hide their amusement. I continue. So that settles it. I can make here a procedure for the demolition and installation of the access, or if you prefer, I can send it approved by Ray tomorrow. Everyone is silent. In a second of contained storm. But Phil isn't done yet. He leans in and puts his hands over the table. "Now, we need to see what we'll do to recover the supposedly stolen equipment that's trapped inside the machine room. And what will you do about the 2 workers you fired this morning?" He looks at the weasel, who's just about to melt and escape by the first crack he can find. Richard now turns into a raging volcano. He was so furious that his blood pressure could have been measured in atmospheres. "You fired people without proof?" And then another maybe 5 minutes of berating exploded until the architect, who was supposed to be coordinating the meeting, called to a truce so they could advance with the problems of the electric and water crews. Phil and I were dismissed, but while the door was closing, I could hear Richard screaming again. I sighed, relieved. Truth is, I was shaking a little. What a mess. Nah, this was a quiet meeting, Phil said, smiling. Tell Ray he missed a good one. Pleased to meet you, kid. In the end, the construction was finished with 5 months of delays. Both the Weasel and Richard were fired from their respective companies. Ray just laughed at my story and told me it was good that Richard hadn't tried to punch me because he wanted to fight everyone, all the time. I never found those two again, but did find Phil on another project 2 years after. Same mischievous old man. To my luck, to this day, I've never had another meeting like that dreadful one. This subreddit has turned me into a paranoid shopper. I didn't realize it until the other day, but as my title says, I've suddenly become paranoid I'll be on the wrong end of an IDWHL story, although I'm always polite in public and in no way a Karen. So this is just a quick, silly story of how I discovered my newfound anxiety. I was grocery shopping 2 days ago, and I'd found everything on my list except the panko breadcrumbs. I looked up and down the aisles multiple times. I just couldn't find them. Finally, I concede that I'm going to need help, and I walked down the chip and snack aisle, and there was a guy stocking the shelves in a vest with a name tag. Me. Excuse me. Guy. Yes? Me. Could you, do you work here? Guy. Slightly snickering. Yes? Me. Okay, just checking. Could you tell me what aisle the breadcrumbs are in? And then he tells me. I thank him and start to walk away when, no joke, he asks, "You use Reddit, don't you?" I laugh and I'm pretty sure turned bright red at the same time. I can't remember exactly what I said in return. Probably something dumb like, "Yeah, you caught me," or "Hurt." However, friendly grocery stalker, if you're reading this, maybe you can refresh my memory. So that's my boring story of how I'm super worried now that every store employee may not actually be an employee, and the first time I realized this, the employee I spoke with was also an IDWHL fan. He's probably had his fair share of Karens. And this sub is his stress relief. At least it helps me. Hey, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.